Frank Rijkaard took Barcelona to new heights by phasing out the old guard and rebuilding the team around key players like Ronaldinho, Deco, Samuel Eto'o, Rafael Marquez, and Ludovic Gulli. He also incorporated talents such as Lionel Messi, Victor Valdez, and Andres Iniesta into the first-team squad. Rijkaard's tactical acumen led to La Liga titles in 04-05 as well as 05-06, and of course a memorable Champions League victory over Arsenal. Here is a detailed breakdown of how you can replicate his tactics into FC24. Switching from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3 system was pivotal in the success of Barcelona. This provided consistency to Barcelona winning games as well as allowed them to dominate possession and of course play attractive football. The role of Edmilson was highly underrated for the success of this Barcelona team, as he would often act as a third centre-back in the backline area looking to solidify the defense. Now moving on to the tactics and the tactical vision, which will be set to custom, as Rijkaard's tactics often blended elements of tiki-taka football with aggressive counter-pressing. One thing I can say is if you are looking to implement this custom style of play into your game plan, go ahead and hire coaches that have elements of gegenpressing as well as tiki-taka. This hybrid approach often allowed Barcelona to dominate possession whilst also incorporating aggressive counter-pressing once they did lose the ball. Now onto the defense, and of course the defensive style will be set to press after possession loss. This emphasized applying pressure to the opposition from the midfield as well as the forward line. The likes of Eto'o, Messi, Gulli, Van Bommel, Deco, Xavi, Iniesta would all aggressively press the opposition and cause turnovers and mistakes and effectively put the ball back into Barcelona's possession. The teams with the sets to 50, which allowed for players like Deco to be able to cover the wider areas and cover for the likes of Ronaldinho, who would not always track back, whilst also maintaining a solid pressing structure in the central zones. As for the team's depth, it would be set to 85, creating a nice solid high line, aiding in the counter-pressing measures, whilst also adding to the ball retention strategy. The depth facilitated ball retention whilst also putting the opposition under constant pressure. Onto the offensive side of things, and the build-up play will be set to slow build-up. This meant that Barcelona would focus on the build-up play from the back, focusing on short passing sequences to occur in the central zones. This methodical approach helped break down their opponents whilst also creating goal-scoring opportunities whilst maintaining possession, which leads on quite nicely to the chance creation now being set to possession, often allowing the ball carrier to maintain a lot of passing options in and around him at all times, looking to help unlock the opposition's back line. This ensured that players such as Ronaldinho or Xavi were able to run the game and dictate the pace of play. The team's offensive width would be set to 15, allowing for the wingers to be able to drift inside and interchange with the other midfielders. This would also allow them to vacate those wider regions and allow the fullbacks to roam forward and be an offensive outlet down the wider channels of the field. The players in the box is set to 5, ensuring that at least 2 to 3 players were in the box ready and waiting for the potential cutbacks or the occasional cross fired into the attacking zone. The other players were situated around the box, looking to sustain possession and of course create offensive attacking sequences. And then finally the corners and the free kicks, as for always, will be set to 4. Progressing on now to the individual play instructions in order to try and get the system to flourish in its more natural Frank Rijkaard system. So starting off at the back with the goalkeeper, and of course at the time that was Victor Valdez. He'd be set to come for crosses as well as be a sweeper keeper, looking to sweep up just behind that aggressive high line and make sure that he is looking to minimize the attacking threats in behind the defense. He was also very clinical at being able to play under pressure and find those passes either into the centre backs or into the midfield zones. Now onto your 2 centre backs. Of course it was the likes of Marquez as well as Carlos Puyol. So Puyol was set to be a bit more of the aggressor, a bit more of the hard-nosed defender, so he would be set to having aggressive interceptions, whereas his defensive partner would be set to having a base set of instructions, looking to cover him in certain moments. But the role of Marquez was more of the ball-playing centre-back, looking to get the ball into him with a Victor Valdez short pass, and then for him to look to progress the ball further forward into the midfield zones. Now onto your 2 fullbacks. Of course, at the time it was Van Bronckhorst as well as Oliger, I think that's how you pronounce his name. But both of them would be set to join the attack as well as overlap. You want them operating in those wider spaces, especially when the wingers would look to drift more centrally. You want them being able to contribute on the offensive phases of play as well as contributing on the defensive outlets. So as you'll see here for the right back as well, he is set to the same set of instructions. Now onto your defensive midfielder, of course Edmilson at that time. He is set to having a balanced defense, looking to just maintain the shape and the structure of the side at the back, not overly looking to engage with the opposition. He'd also be set to stay back while attacking, looking to win the ball back and then circulate it back into the further forward attacking players or midfielders. The interceptions would be set to conservative, as he wouldn't always look to overly engage with the opposition, looking just, like I say, looking to tuck into that back line and almost formulate a back 5 area. As you'll also see here, the positioning freedom is set to stick to position and then of course cover the central zones. Higher up the field now into the role of Xavi Hernandez, or it could have been Van Bommel at the time. They would both be set to the same role and instructions if you are looking to use either or just create that very solid right central midfield position. But this position essentially was the deep lying playmaker, often allowing the player to drop a bit deeper, get on the ball, chauffeur the ball from those goalkeeper restarts, and looking to dictate the tempo of the game. So they would be set to stay back while attacking, stay on the edge of the box, not overly looking to get too far forward into that attacking zone, looking to rotate the play on the edge of the area as much as possible. But the interceptions will be set to aggressive. Both of your central midfielders will look to aggressively press in those central zones, looking to break up the play and win the ball back very effectively, as well as high up the field. And then finally, cover the central zones as well as stick to position. Now, if you do set it to free roam, it does kind of break the structure of the side, which is exactly why I have gone against that and set it to stick to position. Now onto your left central midfielder, and he is set to having a balanced attacking support, looking to sometimes venture further forward and be very involved in the attacking outlets higher up the field. He will also look to stay on the edge of the box, but every now and then you do see him breaking into that attacking area because of the more natural attacking supports. The interceptions will be set to aggressive, cover the wing, and this is vital because the likes of Ronaldinho did not track back. The likes of Deco in this role would look to try and drift into those wider zones and try and cover for those wider runners. And then finally, you also want him to be able to stick to his position. So for the instructions of your wingers, they do have very similar roles, with the left-hand side, which was Ronaldinho at that time, not really having a lot of defensive chores or duties to fulfill. So he would be set to stay forward, looking to be an offensive outlet on the counter if required. The transgression is set to a balanced width, allowing him to drift into those, wider channels if required, or more centrally, because you do want him to be able to come short and link up very nicely, vacating that wider space for the fullback to roam down. But you also want him in those central zones, combining very effectively with the likes of a Deco, a Van Bommel, a Xavi, and Iniesta, whoever you would want to put in those central zones. So you want them coming short, as well as for the role of the left wing, he'd be set to having conservative interceptions. You don't want him overexerting himself when out of possession of the ball. And then finally, for both of your wingers at least, they will both be set to having a balanced crossing run. As you'll see here for the role of the right wing, of course this was either Gulli or Messi at that time, they would be set to come back on defense as well as maintain aggressive interception. So the right-hand side was more secure in certain moments than the left, with the right wing looking to consistently track back and help on the defensive end of things. And now onto the role of the striker. Of course, Samuel Eto'o at that time, he would be set to having a drift wide approach, looking to drift into those wider zones as much as possible. And often with his pace, as well as his movements, it would create a lot of space centrally for the likes of Ronaldinho and Messi to combine in those central areas and attack the opposition. Of course, with that aggressive, engaging movement from the striker, it would often create outlets for the counter for him to try and exploit the opposition with. So his instructions going forward will be set to drift wide, mix attack, aggressive interceptions. You want him aggressively pressing, and then of course stay forward. So him and Ronaldinho were very much the outlet ball in the offense for the likes of Barcelona. And there you go, people. That is how I would implement and replicate 06 Barcelona Frank Rijkaard tactics into FC24. There is no one out there that has done it. I've made sure. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you don't mind smashing that like button, you will absolutely enjoy these tactics. Now, out of 10, I would give this a solid 8.5. The fluidity is sensational. The defending is incredible. But every now and then, you do get caught out with the odd ball at the back post from the opposition. But nonetheless, it is incredible tactics to go ahead and implement into your career modes. Now, we will be hopping on into the gameplay, where we will be discussing the gameplay and the tactics in further depth. Okay, people, the gameplay segment's up against the mighty Arsenal in the Champions League final, looking to emulate that really good offensive, 06 performance that fine Barcelona side, did. Anyways, so we will be discussing the tactics in further detail, looking to, initiate them in the best possible way, the most realistic way as well. And looking to track back here with the right wing. And also, another thing, guys, a little bit of a gameplay tip. Don't overly use your DM. I know I've just used him there, but don't overly use the DM. Make sure that he is more or less in his position. Use your two central midfielders, or of course your centre-backs, mainly the left-sided centre-back, if you want to have that aggressive mentality in your team. But yes, don't use your DM as much. You want him in those central zones, clogging the space, filling the holes, filling the gaps, making sure that he is looking to contribute as almost a third choice centre back. And it's a bit of a wayward pass from the likes of, the striker in this moment. And right here, right now, the likes of Arsenal looking to get on the ball. up against the left-sided, no, the right-sided centre-back. I have my sense of direction wrong. Little flick on effort there into the likes of Xavi in this role. Squares it nicely into the right wing, and he opens up the scoring 13 minutes in. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the wingers did drift nice and narrow, you know, centralizing that attack, focusing in on mainly the centre-backs and those, you know, half spaces between the full-backs and the centre-backs, trying to attack those spaces, sucking them in and then drawing them out. A great pass, a great assist, a great finish from the winger. Beautiful scenes as Barcelona go 1-0 up. And now I do know that in the 06 final, the likes of the goalkeeper for Arsenal, I can't remember who it was, Lehmann, I think, maybe, I could be wrong, was sent off. So they had to bring on Almunia, and he did very well. And then, of course, Sol Campbell ended up scoring, and Arsenal were 1-0 up, and Barca were against the kosh, against 10 men. And it was real quality that prevailed at the end there, because Barcelona ended up just passing Arsenal off the park, opening up and exploiting the spaces and the gaps that, of course, a 10-man side will definitely produce. But having the ability and the know-how to break down that side to the point that they did. I mean, the second goal was incredible. The passing sequences that occurred in that moment were absolutely amazing. And then they were just able to exploit the space down the wider flanks. And of course, I forget the fullback who scored, but the fullback ended up scoring. So by operating this, you know, wider space, looking to whip in a great cross back post area, and it's a great effort. But of course, Barcelona don't really have the ability, the aerial threat, I should say. We have done a very good job here. The likes of the DM just rotating the play nicely, looking to just shape up quite nicely here. The likes of your Xavi Hernandez role, dropping a bit deeper, getting on the ball, combining nicely with the centre backs. The overlapping fullback yet again, looking to exploit the space down the right channel. Cut back, and it's a great opportunity taken with both hands. Great strike from the likes of Eto'o or Joao Felix. And I have gone with Joao Felix because, of course, Lewandowski, I mean, Victor Roque also does fit the mold, but we went with a slightly higher rated player. But Joao Felix does have the ability to drift into those wider spaces, allow him to operate almost as a winger in certain moments, have his pace, you know, utilized to the team's advantage. Whereas Lewandowski isn't the quickest of players anymore, although he does have, you know, the physicality that, of course, Eto'o did possess. But we need the pace for the movements up front. Anyways, 2-0 to the good, absolutely battering Arsenal. You'll love to see it. In this one, the likes of Bukayo Saka trying to go up against the big boys at the back. And as you'll see there, the right, you know, central midfielder just dropping nicely, just looking to run the game, looking just to fit into those little spaces, even without the free roaming role, which is so good. Nice little ball recovery there. Oh my goodness me, and Saliba puts in a fantastic tackle. We were about to link up the play. Oh, tenfold then open up Arsenal for a 3-0 lead. Good defending from the back line. Of course, that would have been Marquez at the time. And, well, 2-0 up. 37 minutes gone by, and I think that's their first real, like, offensive chance, and it's gone out for a corner kick. They've put a great ball in, but it's dealt with effectively by the centre-backs. Wow. Just, you know, man-marking, aggressively pressing, winning the ball back. Little layoff there into Ed Nilsson. Bangs it nicely. Up front to the striker, and of course, Saliba is actually relatively quick. Little dual move onto his more dominant foot, and it's forced a save from David Raya. Fantastic scenes. You want to try and isolate the striker at times up against at least one defender, because that is something that Eto'o was very good at. Great save from Raya yet again. It should be a lot more than the 2 people. It should definitely be a lot more than the 2-0, but it's fine. It's all right. Onto the head again of Araujo. Okay. Building up. Good little passing sequence. Oh my god, we get absolutely battered off the ball, and that should be half-time from the referee. Some really good little passing sequences that have occurred. 2 well-taken chances for the goals. The right wing-back has been absolutely instrumental in breaking down Arsenal's defense down that wider right space, which you will see on a consistent basis down both flanks, although we have mainly used the right-hand side. Okay, so at the break, we have maintained 52% possession up against a very good on the ball dominant side like Arsenal, who have maintained 48% possession. So that needs to be a bit more of a focus for us. We need to look after the ball as well. We've maintained around 91% pass accuracy. So some of our passes have been slightly wayward. Their attacking outlet has been non-existent. We've had 4 shots to their 0. We've had an expected goals of 2.6. So borderline 3 goals that should have been in the back of the net. Goodness me, some really good saves from their goalkeeper and David Raya. 6 tackles each, 3 tackles, 1. 3 interceptions to us compared to their 1. That is because we are aggressively pressing, getting high up the field and looking to clog those passing lanes. But so far, so good. The only thing that I am slightly disheartened by is the fact that this is a possession-based brand of football that we are trying to play, and we haven't really been able to show that in the first half. So just having a look at our possession, and a lot of it has been sustained on the edge of the Arsenal box, as you'll see there highlighted by the 2 dark blue areas. Whereas for them, a lot of their attacking outlets and possession has been sustained down the right-hand channel for the likes of Bukayo Saka, looking to attack us, and then the odd occasion in front of our box. So we need to try and break that up. We need the likes of the DM to try and, be a bit more imposing and try and block those passing lanes. And of course, we need our 2 central midfielders dropping a bit deeper and being very aggressive and hurrying up the opposition and forcing those turnovers as well. But otherwise, so far, so good. And then finally, we'll talk about the passing and the passing sequences that have occurred. A lot of passes, a lot of vertical passes have been the main aim of the game. A lot of forward passes into the front line, into the 2 central midfielders who have been very good at just being able to distribute the play, rotate the ball further forward. And like I say, I think I said it in the first half as it came to an end, but we have been attacking a lot down the right-hand side, and the passing sequences do show that. So we need to have the likes of Ronaldinho as that left winger, and of course the fullback, combining very nicely in those higher, wider left-hand channels, which I do think we will see in the second half. Okay, Arsenal are set to kick things off here. 14th minute as well as the 30th minute with goals, beautiful scenes. And of course, Arsenal are very good on the ball, dominant side, of course. And even at that time, under the likes of Arsene Wenger, very good team. They played very attractive, beautiful football in certain moments. Good ball over the top. Now, of course, Barcelona didn't always play the long ball, but they weren't, afraid to. Good pass into likes of Ferran Torres. Good little bit of ball movement and rotation into the winger here. Tight space. It's marked. Oh my goodness me. The back post was vacant and open. But some really good play down the left-hand side. And as you'll see here, the left wing, he's come very short here. Looking to play the ball into, oh my goodness me, the on-rushing striker. That would have been a great bit of offensive play. But it's fine, it's okay. The defense has read it very well, but so have we. Breaking up the play, rotating it back into the midfield, and there we go. Just rotate the play here, boys. Rotate the play. And we've given the ball away very cheaply there. Well tackled from the centre-back, looking just to disrupt, disturb, kill the offense from the opposition. Good further ball. Good ball over the top. Great run from the right wing back. Back in. Some really good play. Back in there. Bang. Good ball. Out wide. Squares it nicely. And it's, oh my goodness me. It's a great bit of defensive action from Arsenal's right back, or left back, sorry. Wow. Really well done, and also a really good bit of play from the DM, drifting slightly wider, operating in that defensive zone, breaking up the potential fast break, and Martinelli set to come on for the mighty Arsenal, adding a bit more pace down the left-hand side, I guess. Good play, forcing Arsenal into the mistakes, into the errors, and into the back of the net for the likes of Joao Felix. Some great play between the left wing and the striker, making that run in behind, using the striker's pace to the team's advantage, which is quite often what Eto'o would do. A lot of the off-the-ball movements were significant to a lot of the goals that he did score. And a great find from the left wing. I know it was slightly intercepted and rushed on, but the striker did manage to get there at the end of the day and put the ball in the back of the net. Some really good possession play as, the second half finds the midpoint of it. And we are 3-0 up, absolutely battering the mighty Arsenal. Battering. Yes, the possession might not be there as much, but we have been doing a very solid job in rotating the play, making sure that those offensive actions are implemented very nicely. Again, don't use the DM. Allow him to get into his more natural shape and structure at the back, just from behind. Track back with your two central midfielders. Martinelli on the ball. Broken up. And they fouled my man, ref. They fouled the man. And we will get the ball back. Beautiful. Beautiful. Christensen just plays out nicely from the back here, inviting the Arsenal press. And that is another thing. This team was very good. I mean, most Barcelona teams, especially under Pep Guardiola, were very good at, just being able to control and not be fazed by the opposition's aggressive pressing nature. Frank Rijkaard was also a very keen person and manager to also want his sides to play under controlled pressure from the opposition. So, little ball into the midfield zone. It's a bit of a wayward pass from the left back, but we go again. The likes of the mighty Arsenal attacking here through the likes of Jesus, and it's a great goal taken. It was a silly mistake from yours truly. A giveaway ball from the left back, and Jesus opens up the scoring for Arsenal in the final. I mean, it's not exactly 2-1, but it is 3-1. So at least Arsenal did score in this Champions League final as well. Anyways, we're just going to rotate the play here, make sure that things are ticking over quite nicely, quite effectively. And we'll look to stem together a few passing sequences as well. A little bit of movement there. Bang, bang, and bang. Looking to operate a bit more centrally, combining nicely with the left central midfielder. And just the return pass was a bit wayward. And here come Arsenal. A lot of vertical passing is occurring, but as you'll see here, the DM taking up that centre-back role himself, looking just to clog the passing lanes and doing his job very nicely. Here we go. The striker making a nice wide run. Into it. And into it. And there you go. It's a 4-1 drubbing of Arsenal. And that will mean that in this timeline as well, in this game, Barcelona will beat Arsenal in the Champions League final. Absolutely battering them. A great assist from, I think it would have been the right central midfielder into the left wing. And it's a great little finish to beat the keeper. Okay, well, the ref just has to blow the whistle and then the celebrations occur. Fantastic scenes. Honestly, people, a brilliant set of tactics. Like I said, in the tactical side of things, nobody on YouTube has made these tactics. They've been scared. No, I'm joking. But again, these tactics are brilliant to go ahead and use. Maybe incorporating better players, replacing the likes of Romeo as that Ed Nielsen role, finding, better fullbacks to maybe fit the system slightly better. Of course, Balde is brilliant as being that left-sided attacking wing back. Maybe the likes of Cancelo isn't as good. I know Cancelo is a really good attacking, fullback, but maybe he doesn't suit the role that the side had, because it was a slightly more, defensive, wide player. But anyways, I'm waffling. It's some brilliant tactics. Please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I just want to see the team lift the trophy, because that's actually what happened. But yes, you guys can let me know down below in the comment section. Do you rate the tactics? Do you like the tactics? What would you rank it and rate it out of 10? That would be great too. But as you'll see here, the Capitano, of course, at the time it was Carlos Puyol, is lifting the trophy. Fantastic scenes. We are going to take a look at the stats after the game. Obviously, Brom squad winning the game by 4-1. Note, that's the match performance. My bad, my mistake. I'm going into the wrong place. But as you'll see here, the striker getting the man of the match, of course, Samuel Eto'o. But the match facts, we did, maintain and actually, level up in terms of our possession output at 58%. Not too bad. 3.7 expected goals. Fantastic. They did have one shot in the end that resulted in a goal for them. But otherwise, our defense was very solid. It was very good at compacting, stretching itself, making sure that they are picking up the runners on the edge of the box. So they were very good at just being able to break up the play. We had double their passes almost. Tackles won 13-12, so we did eventually win that battle. They did, we did turn the ball over a fair amount more in that second half, looking for those through passes a bit, but we did look after the ball as well. So there is a slight give and take situation and factor there. But anyways, until the next one, until the next time, I hope you guys have a damn great day, and I'm out of here.